Okay, so real quickly, I wanted to add this little piece into this video here. The paperwork that we do with Anna, I wanted to point out the importance of it. It's important that people coming into the assembly, especially the new people, this is a great opportunity when you are doing Anna's paperwork or any of the paperwork, that you're learning the process. Because everything that we do in life is a process. Everything that we do in the assembly is a process. And even though there's the side of the assembly and the private personal stuff, for anybody who's coming in as a new person, that's important that you learn the process, that you go to the recorder's office if you've never been there before. You record your paperwork, and maybe they tell you, no, you're not allowed to do it that way, and you learn from the process because that's the way it is. And most every time I have people say, well, they turned me down and they didn't do it right, and they didn't do it this way, and or I have people who just don't do it correctly the first time, and that's okay. It's not a life or death thing for the most part. You'll be fine. Um, but I also wanted to mention that in the assembly, we like to gather that paperwork. We gather the paperwork that is your personal, private paperwork into the assembly so that we know, number one, you're serious. You know, if someone's not willing to do that paperwork, and let's say you're not willing to do a deed of expatriation or a deed of reconveyance and an expatriation, then how do we know that you're really someone who isn't a rogue actor? You can say you're not an attorney, but without that paperwork, how do you prove to us that you're not an attorney or that you're not working for the government? See, whenever we get that kind of paperwork back, then you're held liable to it. So we ask for that for a very specific reason. We have to protect the assembly. So that paperwork, and the assembly paperwork itself, is a protection as much as anything else, that you have agreed to do your duty, for example, as a member of a grand jury. So I just wanted to add this little excerpt in here in the middle here of this video because I didn't get to cover that. This simple aspect of it's a really fun thing to learn to do the paperwork, and it's fun because you probably never did it before. You don't need to be nervous about it. It's just a process, and so with that, you know, it's really a good thing. And moving on.